Hello and welcome to what is very much a pilot test episode of a new podcast project I'm starting. Hopefully it will continue. I am basically talking to my friends about what keeps them happy, what's keeping them sane, and what's keeping their spirits up while we are currently going through the COVID-19 pandemic. Things are starting to ease off, but the world that we know isn't how it's meant to be right now. So I'm going to sit down, talk to my friends remotely via Zoom and other such devices, and talk to them about what makes them happy, what makes them smile. This is very much a test episode. I've already recorded this with my friend Jason. There are some audio echo issues. Please forgive me, I am still learning. Every day is a lesson. I think it's quite entertaining. I hope you do too, and hopefully this will continue, and I hope you enjoy. Over to the podcast. Oh, also, I don't have a name yet for this podcast. I'm dabbling with a few. I'm thinking maybe about the Champions of Happiness or Champions of Happy, but I don't know. So we'll see, and maybe one day we'll actually have a proper name for it. In the meantime, here we go. You're recording? Cool. Hi Jason, let's pretend we haven't been talking to each other for the last 20 minutes trying to set this up. How the hell are you?
I did have a stressful day, but after this 20 minutes of trying to set this up, even worse now.
Oh my god, how painful was that? I'm sorry. Also, I thought you would know how to do this kind of stuff. Clearly, I was wrong.
I'm not really one of these Mac people, I must say.
What is I mean, not to maybe go into too deep, but what's been stressful today?
Ms. Corona. So with Ms. Corona, if you work in any form of like people function, so I work in HR, it's a joyous occasion because you're trying to deal with everyone's situations, and it's just it's not fun. Trying to make sure that everyone's kept happy, but also she's causing a lot of issues in the economic world, isn't she? So,
are you finding some days are harder than other days?
Oh god, yeah, absolutely. Like sometimes I'm like, this is brilliant. I'm working from home, and like I can just do what I want. Then other days I'm like, I've got to try and get like 12 hours worth of work into like 8. So that's literally what today's been. And I've had meetings about having meetings, which makes it even more fun.
Oh god, joyous occasions.
Yeah,
well Jason, thank you for joining me on what is probably going to be and this is very much, as I've told you before, a test pilot attempt at making a podcast while we're in this weird world that is Miss Corona. We are in a pandemic, and it sucks because normally we would see each other in real life quite regularly, and I haven't seen you now probably for 4 months. March. When was the last time we saw each other?
Well, my birthday was March, so it's prior to that.
God, that is insane.
Yeah, that's how.
Because today is July the 7th, 2020.
Yeah.
The year that never was, nor will ever be again.
Which means I get to remain less than 40 for another year.
Hooray! That's how it works. Sure, that's science. So to quickly summarise how we know each other because I think we have mutual friends on another podcast, and we got to talking about them, and then I guess you and your husband Daniel just started to come to socials and such. Is that right?
Yeah, we kind of like invited ourselves along. No, not really. I think it's literally through that. It was this case of I started listening to a mutual friend's podcast. Got chatting to him, met out for a drink, and then social events started to happen. And then I realised that you were probably as odd as I am, and we got on very well.
And we just couldn't get rid of you. So, Jason, Corona, it sucks. And in short, this podcast is basically me talking to my friends, literally just trying to find out what on earth they're doing to keep their spirits up, to keep them happy, to keep them joyful, and to keep them sane. Before we even get to anything regarding that, I'd love to know, what would be the first thing you can do when lockdown is officially properly over?
Ooh, that's a very good one. Like, I actually, believe it or not, I'm not one of these people that want to go straight down the pub, like, as a massive group. I mean, I do want to go to a small pub, but I don't want to go clubbing. I've realised that I don't need to go clubbing for my life. However, I do want to sit in a beer garden and have a nice cold beer with a group of friends, or maybe even have like a proper picnic in a park somewhere where like everyone
Hmm.
takes like a big cool box and like some music and all that sort of stuff. Like,
And you can actually be near each other and not 2 meters away from each other.
yeah, and not the unofficial type that has been going on, but an actual
Yeah.
official. Oh, it's okay. You can actually be near someone and actually not like offend anyone.
It's legal. It's safe now. It's insane the amount of news articles I've been seeing recently when people have just been going to parks and just having a big old festival like it's everything's fine when everything is not fine.
I know. I mean, the thing is, I'm a seaside boy, so I'm actually grew up by the sea, grew up by with the beach and sand and la 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 la. So I miss it completely. But and then I'm like, oh, I really want to go to the beach, and then I see the pictures of people at beach. I'm like, actually, I don't know if I want to go to those beaches right now. Kind of scares me.
Me and my partner, we went to a pub on the weekend. He surprised me. I mean, there wasn't much. He said we were doing something on Sunday. I said, oh, I wonder what it could be. And he surprised me at the pub. I mean, there aren't many options, but even still, I was surprised. And I have had my first Sunday roast in what feels like a forever. And because he's vegetarian, while I live in the house, I'm eating more veg now in the house and more meat outside of the house.
Yeah.
So to have my first like chicken roast, and I appreciate you're vegan, so you won't understand how good this felt. But it was bloody good. It was just and we drank a fair bit more so than we probably realised we drank. Just because I mean, I've got a glass of Peroni right now, but it's just not the same as having a pint in a real pub.
Yeah, completely agree. I mean, that's very very super cute. Like, I bet that was probably the first time in a while that you've been super excited and surprised about going to a pub for a Sunday lunch.
Yeah, like I've not been surprised about going to a pub in forever. That's just a regular, normal thing. Like in the house, we've been doing like theatre. I mean, I'm doing air quotes, which is great for a podcast because podcasts are a visual medium. And we're doing theatre nights where we watched Hamilton on Disney Plus, and we watched what was it called, Midsummer's Night Dream on YouTube when they were doing free theatre shows. So we've been trying to like kind of have date nights in the house, but it's like it was nice to actually go outside. It was a sunny day. We got to sit outside. We had a lot to drink. We had a lot to eat. It just felt like it felt like a taste of normality again.
Yeah, I saw something super super cute the other day. There was this family. I just totally like off subject, but sorry. They
Go for it.
had a theatre night because Hamilton's now on Disney Plus, as you say. So they all got dressed as if they were going to the theatre, and they had like little fake tickets, and then they had like a fake interval, and then they had like ice creams and drinks beforehand. And I was like, that's the most adorable thing I've seen. And like the gran had
That is
seat
cute.
AA, and she's like sit on the sofa in the middle and stuff like that. It's very very cute.
Oh, bless. That's adorable.
Yeah.
Have you seen any? Are your friends and family? Are you doing Zoom quizzes and
For
Zoom meetups and stuff?
Yeah, for sure. I'm not gonna lie. I'm completely quizzed out. Like, honestly, I think quizzes went from me within about 5 weeks, and it just got a bit too much. So then we started like mixing it up a little bit and doing different types of games and different styles of Zoom meets and this, that, and the other. So with my family, we've only done two throughout the entire time, just because it's like, you know what, let's do something else. Let's play a game of Mr. and Mrs. or let's play Werewolf, or let's have a murder mystery night, as you've been in part of as well. So like have all these different types of games instead of just your standard quiz. Because if not, my brain's going to be mush. Honestly, I'm going to come out of this and I'm going to have like 3 brain cells left.
So, obviously, just getting back to the point of this podcast. So, I asked you in the week, what keeps you happy, what keeps you smiling, what keeps you going, and you told me it was board games. So, I'd love to hear. What was and before you start talking about the games that you've been talking about at the moment, what's the first board game you remember playing with your family?
So I'm a 30-year-old man, and like it was something that we used to do a lot as kids. Like me and my sister used to play a lot, and it was mostly when we went around our grandparents' houses. So my grandparents are the type that used to have like these compendium of games, and it's basically one box, and it contained like 50 board games, because in one box it's like 51.
Blimey.
Yeah, this is how old I am right now. But they contain things like chess drafts, but then you get like Snakes and Ladders, and then you'd get like Tiddlywinks, and then you get like Ludo, and then you'd get all these other different types of games that are involved in it. And that's what we used to do to keep ourselves entertained, because we used to go to each grandparents every Friday night. That was our life. And after a while, it just becomes like, oh, what game are we playing this time? And like you try and mix it up. And I've played some weird and wonderful games over the course of my life. Like, I remember distinctly, anyone that actually has ever played this game would actually love it. It's one called like Ghost House, and it was like a board game, and it had like a 3D sort of like cardboard castle in the middle of it, and you had to work your way around and try and like not get caught by the ghost. And it
sounds amazing.
It was amazing, and it's a proper vintage, old school board game, and it was amazing. And board games such as Mousetrap. Oh my god, who cannot love Mousetrap? Like, for me,
I mean, yay and nay. Like, there's a lot of setup for that game, for not a lot
but that's the best part. The best part is building it. The best part is, like, as a young boy, I could not get more excited about building the trap as opposed to, like, fuck the game. I'd rather just build the trap. Like, just, yeah, that was how it used to win me. And I don't know, like, I was the sort of games that used to like enjoy for like half an hour or so, maybe an hour max. Like, I'm not one of these people that can sit there and play Risk or World of Warcraft. As much as I appreciate them and understand them, as like the detail and the beauty in them is amazing, but I cannot sit there for several hours and play Risk. Like, Monopoly is just not one for me. Like, I would rather.
I think you're being far too polite. I've been to weekends away for board game, like cabin in the woods kind of styly cottage trips with geeky friends, and I've gone with friends who play these like 10-hour, 5-hour games, and they sat me down for a game that was meant to last 2 to 3 hours. I'm like, okay, I'll give it a go. I think we were maybe like an hour and a half in, and the game hadn't even started. It was still set up, and I just looked around and said, is anyone having fun? And I could see the glee in their eyes, how happy they were with like, oh yeah, my status is this, my character is this. I was like, I am going to need more Prosecco.
Yeah.
There's a Monopoly. That the game needs to be burned and thrown out the window. And my sister, if you're listening or not, you're a dirty, rotten cheat.
I genuinely don't think that I've ever finished a game of Monopoly. It's never happened. I've always given
I think everyone's got different rules as well with Monopoly. I don't think there's a set clear. Like, what is the... I mean, someone will probably tell me now, but, like, what is the actual goal to Monopoly? Like, is it getting the most money? Is it getting the most property? Is it, like... When there's no timer? Like, no, it doesn't end. But, like, I've found a lot of great games from being drunk and then going on Kickstarter.
Oh.
And just presented by pretty pictures. Like, for example, Unstable Unicorns, which is a fantastic card game that I've got, which you also have. I bought drunk... I was drunk when I got home. I just saw it. I thought, oh, that'd be fun. Bought that. Then I was really drunk when I bought the expensive expansion pack, which I've still not actually played because of Miss Corona. I've not had a chance to actually play it with anyone.
Did you buy it because it was a cute little unicorn?
I think that had an element to it. I was looking at it and I was thinking, I need to like. I was like, I'm not very good. I can play a game, but I'm not very good at telling someone else how to play it or the setup. I read through it and I was like, no, I get this. I could teach someone else how to play this. And if I can teach someone how to play it, that's when I know I'm going to enjoy it myself. But, yeah, Kickstarter is very dangerous. That and Amazon, I shouldn't be allowed on it.
Have you played Exploding Kittens, then?
I have. I was on a skiing trip, and I was very drunk at the time, so I don't remember playing it, but I remember it was similar-ish to Unicorn game.
It is, but you've got to be more conniving to your opponents. The whole idea is you're trying to outwit your opponents to make sure that they fail, not so much that you win. You're trying to make sure that you pass. It's like pass the bomb. You pass the bomb.
Do you have a convincing, good enough poker face?
Oh God, no! I fuck no. I genuinely, I get giddy and start smiling if I get good cards, and I'm like swearing if I get bad cards. So I'm terrible at poker, like absolutely terrible. This is why I like games where it's just not down to that at all. I'm like, yeah, this is just a cute little fun game.
There are, I guess, with my family, especially my sister, who I know I keep referring to a lot. Issues there. I've learned the trick is to show games where if you lose, it's entirely your own fault and you're not being attacked by anyone. So I think you've got to be very strategic with who you play what game with. Like, for example, our friend Mikey, evil mastermind, is so smart in how he will make people turn on you. He's such a dangerous person to play a game with. I think I introduced the unicorn game, the unicorn game, and he just got it straight away. And we were at the we were with friends, and he managed to turn all my friends on me. And I'm like, how did this happen? So while on lockdown, have you been playing? I assume you've been playing games with your partner indoors.
Yeah. So we've kind of got like a bit of a thing going now, and we've kind of got like obsessed by a few games that are going. Like some you can't really play as like a duo, but one of my favourite games that we've been playing for the past like 6 months or so is a game called Tension, and I like high pressure adrenaline board games. And Tension, you play in 2 teams, and the whole idea is you need to get the person opposite you to say the 10 things that are on the card in front of you.
Could we play a quick round?
Oh, hang on a minute. Yeah, sure.
So do you going to briefly explain the game?
For sure. So basically, what I'm going to do is I'm going to give you a category, and you're going to get 1 minute, and what you need to do is in that minute, you need to get the 10 things that are on my card. That is as simply as it. And the more you get, the further you would walk around the board. And the whole idea is the person that gets to the middle of the board first wins the game.
Another... Like, can I say anything, or do you have answers on your card already?
I have answers on my card. Imagine Family Fortunes. The top 10 answers are. And these are the ones that I have on my card.
Okay.
So you need to say exactly what's on my card.
So I have to guess those answers. Right, okay.
I've picked a...
How long do I have?
You have 1 minute.
1 minute.
Let's go with this card. Right, so what we're going to do is we're going to do instruments with strings. So when I say go, you're going to have to think of the instruments with strings, and I'm going to mark off the 10 on my card, and we're going to see how many you can get in that 1 minute. You feeling good?
I'm so ready.
Okay, so 3, 2, 1, go.
A guitar.
Yes.
Violin.
Yes.
Cello.
Yes.
Oh God. Bass. Is that an instrument? Bass. Is it?
What sort of bass?
Guitar. Bass. Cello. Violin. Ukulele.
Ukulele.
Bass guitar.
Bass guitar.
Acoustic guitar. Electric guitar. Oh God, my mind's gone completely blank.
This is what's called tension. Come on.
Oh God, I'm so tense right now. Oh my God, I can't think. What's in a band? Not drums, not...
I think bigger than a band.
Orchestra. Oh my God, this is really difficult. And I guess you normally play in teams, wouldn't you?
Right, so...
God, I'm sure
probably got
this will
about
be
10
over.
seconds
I'll think...
left.
I'm sure normally I'd be able to think of tons.
3, 2, 1, stop.
Oh, bugger.
Okay, so you've got 5. So the ones that you could have had that were on my list were banjo, harp, mandolin, piano, and a viola.
I would never have thought of piano because I would... yeah. What is a viola?
It's like a really small violin.
Is it?
I don't know. It's either a small violin or a big violin. I'm pretty sure it's a small violin.
I mean, listener, you Google it. I'm not your teacher. Okay, so I can see how that's quite fun then.
Yeah, exactly. So the whole thing is about pressure, though. That's the whole thing. Like, you think, like one time I actually sat there and it was our friend Matt, and it was me and Matt, and we had to get items on a McDonald's menu.
Oh, he'd be great at that.
We got it within 15 seconds.
Wow.
That was like the fastest either of us have ever got on like any game ever. It was like, right, what can you get from McDonald's?
Nice. So they're quite short, snappy, fast-paced games then.
Yeah, that's the whole idea of it. That's what keeps your attention, and that's what keeps the adrenaline going, and that's what I find I enjoy more, because it's about that excitement that you get by playing the games with your friends, and that's what I really get enjoyment from when I'm playing my board games. Like it's the simple things. It's like there's a similar one called Blockbuster, and it's about films, and you either need to act something out, or you need to say a quote from it, or you need to give one line that's going to describe the film. It's a very similar sort of
Yeah,
thing.
I've heard of this. I've not played it though. I'm not
It's
sure
fine.
how good
After
it'll be.
lockdown, you can come round. We'll have a good night of it. Don't worry. I've got it on. I've got it on. Yeah, but it's that sort of thing. It's about having that quick mind. It's about having that camaraderie. Yeah, it's good fun. It's good fun.
Nice. As you know, I've had a few online board game sessions where I've literally just set up my camera and the webcam, and then have my phone. So I've had like two cameras watching me and the board, and people have told me what they want me to do. And there's only certain games you can do that remotely. Most games you need to be there to hold your own cards. But have you experienced? I mean, other than doing it with me, have you done it with anyone else?
Um, I haven't. No. Like I'm trying to find other people that have the board game Villainous, because technically you can play it if someone else has the game their end as well.
Can
So,
you tell us a bit about that,
so
please?
Villainous is like my numero uno right now. It is literally the game that I am completely obsessed with. Like, it's about Disney villains, and there's expansion packs, and there's different people to play as, and that's been the one that's been getting me kind of, through Miss Rona. And
Wait, Jason, you like Disney?
oh yeah, maybe a little bit.
You, I,
Did you never know this
I
about
don't
me?
believe that to be true for a second. What? Disney? You've never seen a Disney film.
I know. I mean, I know nothing about Disney. I know nothing about villains, and I don't know pretty much every word to every film that's ever been made, and literally the scores that go with them. And I didn't exactly go there several times throughout my adulthood. I never went there as a child though, so that's my saving grace. So
just for the listeners at home who don't know Jason, Jason is a massive Disney fan. He has been to many Disney quizzes with me and knows pretty much all you need to know and stuff you never thought you would want to know about Disney. Him and his partner are very cute. I think there was a picture of you together where one of you dressed similar in colours of Mickey Mouse and one of you was Donald Duck.
yeah, it's Disney bounding. So basically, the whole idea is you go resembling or in homage to a character, but without dressing like Mickey Mouse. So I wore like a pair of red shorts, a black t-shirt, and a pair of dungarees with yellow trousers, yellow trainers, sorry. And then Daniel was wearing white dungarees with like a blue t-shirt and a red bow tie, and he was Donald Duck. And that was us as Mickey and Donald in front of the Disney castle.
Anyway, villainous to what, how, why,
Okay.
when.
So,
Explain.
long story short, it's a card game as such. There's no actual board that you need to work your way around, but each player has their own board, which is made up of 4 different kingdoms. And with the main game that you can buy, you can start off by being several different Disney characters. So you can actually be Ursula, Maleficent, Jafar, Queen of Hearts, Captain Hook, and even Prince John from Robin Hood. And the whole idea is each villain has their own objective. So, for example, Prince John's objective is to start his turn with at least 20 coins, which sounds very simple. However, the whole idea is you're supposed to play the game and try and accumulate your coins, but your opponent will play heroes onto your board that would like take away your coins, or that you'd have to defeat them first before you can actually start your next turn. And there's lots of different ways to prevent the other person from winning. When I played as Captain Hook, the whole idea was I'm supposed to find Peter Pan, and then I'm supposed to lure him to the Jolly Roger, and then I'm supposed to defeat him by bringing out.
I mean, that's just a night out in London, right?
Yeah.
Find Peter Pan,
Exactly.
take him to the club.
I mean, if you're into the Peter Pan type.
No, not so much. But I can kind of see where some might.
I'm more of a Little John kind of guy.
Little John the tiger, the lion.
Little John was a big old bear.
No, of course he is. Of course he is. Again, another Disney film I've not watched in forever.
But yeah, so the whole idea is you're supposed to play different cards onto the board. You're supposed to bring out allies and those that can help you win the game, and that can defeat your heroes, as well as trying to make you money or make you coins, and it's really fun. But the good thing is, there's expansion packs you can get. So there's a myriad of different like Disney villains that you can get out there that you can play, and you do not have to play the same person from the same pack. So if I was hypothetically, I'm going to play a game with James. Right, I'm going to play a game with you.
Okay.
I'm going to play as Captain Hook, and you're going to play as Ursula. We're going to have a cute, fun game. Yeah, exactly. That's great. We're going to play a game. It's going to be cute and fun. One of us is going to win. Brilliant. Done. The game's over. If I was to then play as Hades, and you were then to play as Ursula, even though you have the same objective, your game would be completely different. It's not the same game because I have different moves that could work onto your board. So no two games are ever the same. So you could play as the same person 6 times against 6 different villains, and it would always change because some villains have more hero cards that they can play onto your board than others, or others will have different objectives. Their objective might be to take all your money, or their objective might be to make sure that your heroes win, or loads of different angles to the game. So it's super, super fun.
Now, this game sounds very different to the likes of Frustration or something short and quick and simple. How long would this game tend to last for?
The quickest game that I've played was about, I believe it's actually about an hour, which sounds long.
Oh, okay.
It sounds long, but it really doesn't feel that when you're playing it. And the longest game we've played took 2 hours, and that was because every single time I was about to win, Daniel turned around and did something that means that I had to start my go all over again, or my objective was like completely ruined. Like I had 3 who was I playing as? Hades. I had 3 Titans at Mount Olympus, and all of a sudden he just, I'm going to just like take 2 of your Titans and just move them away. I'm like, I was just about to win. Literally one move and I was about to win. But no, they played a hero card, which means that Hercules comes and saves the day and defeats all my like Titans and gets rid of them. So
would the game last longer if you were playing with more people?
Yes, and also you can actually start to buddy up with people to pick on people. So we actually brought in a third person to play Villainous for this recently, and you can actually start to make contracts with people about, but if we get them out, that means that we got more turns that we can go, and then you think, but hang on a minute, didn't they just play a hero card on your deck? And you think, oh yeah, they did. I'm going to actually go back for that person. So you actually try and deflect the villain away from yourself. So as long as they're talking about someone else, they're not talking about you or like coming onto your board, which means you've got more advantage to try and complete your objective before they realise that you're about to win. So it's very sneaky. That's why it's called Villainous, because you've got to be a
are there any characters there that aren't in the game that you wish were a playable character from the Disney villain world?
For some, it's just a matter of time, because at the moment, do you want me to give you a bit of a rundown? Here we got. So at the moment, I've got those ones that I just said about before, but you've also got Hades, Dr. Facilier, and Evil Queen. You've got Ratigan, Scar, and Yzma. You've also got Cruella de
yes,
Vil.
Yzma.
Yes, Yzma. Mother Gothel, and also Pete as well. So I'm trying to think of which... Pete from Mickey Mouse Pete, not Pete from Toy Story.
Yeah.
There's no Pixar involved yet. There is rumours that they are doing a Marvel set. So they're going to have the Avengers come out as the main one. So all the Marvel characters. And then they're going to have expansions, which are then going to go into people like... I'm trying to think, like... Thanos and Loki, and like, because it's going to start off with the main Avengers and it's going to work out to be the heroes of the expansions, which is quite cool. But I'm trying to think of which heroes would be really cool.
It's a shame Gaston isn't in there.
Well, this is one that I've said before. Gaston would be a great hero.
Villain.
Villain. A great villain would be Oogie Boogie, of course, and the objective would be to kidnap Santa Claus. So you've got to try and kidnap Santa Claus, but Jack's going to try and stop you from kidnapping Santa Claus. If you put it into context, that's the best way I can actually explain it.
That makes sense. So I guess Gaston's objective would be to force a woman to marry him.
Believe it or not, because Jafar's one, you've got to try and get the genie under your control, and you've got to get the lamp, and that is your objective.
Yeah.
Whereas Yzma's, you've got to defeat Kuzco with Krunk as your ally, sort of thing. So.
Oh, I love Yzma. I love Emperor's New Groove so much. Oh, it makes me so happy.
It's making you smile already. You've not even played the game yet. So yeah, there's so many options for the future. As long as there's a Disney film, there's a Disney villain that can come out. I mean, let's face it, you're going to probably get like Hans from Frozen at some point, and he's got to try and defeat Elsa, and she's got to be like a character with Kristoff and Sven and stuff. They're going to try and come and help her.
So can you give us a quick rundown of the other quick kind of fire games you would recommend to people who are interested in playing quick, snappy, fun?
Quick, snappy, fun games. There's always 5-second rule. So it's like, but it's very dangerous because you play 5-second rule. You get 5 seconds to give 3 answers to a question, which sounds very simple. But the question might be quite simple, like, I name 3 vegetables. And it's like, okay, broccoli, cucumber, and cabbage. And it can get very awkward because I was playing it with someone, sorry.
Is cucumber a vegetable?
It is now. I was playing it with... this is an example. I was playing it with someone once, and we was playing it as a group. And you know those quickfire games where you're like, okay, this is the truth comes out. We said to this girl, okay, name 3 things that you want out of life. And she said to be money, to have money, to have a house, and to be loved for real. Bearing in mind that this
for real, I like that add-on.
Yeah, no, she said that, and she was actually married at the time, and she said that she wanted to be loved for real, and we all went. It kind of like was a bit of a buzzkill for a moment. It's like, oh, okay,
yeah. Fun.
And then, I mean, it turns out a couple of months later, she did end up getting, like, the D word. But it's fine. But it's just a case of, like, the truth comes out when you're under pressure. So 5-second rule is a dangerous game to play sometimes, depending on what question comes out.
If I were to whisk you off away to a desert island, what 3 games would you take with you? And let's say, for example, you can play with how many other people you need to play with.
Okay, so... the way that my mind is right now, absolutely one would be Villainous. Another one would be the one that I told you about earlier, whether I used to play it on my nan's, which is the Compendium of Games, because that's 50 games in one. I don't know if that's a cop-out.
Ah, yes. But that's like kind of wishing for more wishes.
But it's a board game, and it comes in one box. I really like... Oh, God, I'm such a loser. I really like the Game of Life Fame Edition. And the object...
you've told me about this, but I've never played.
The object of the game is to become famous and to have an entourage.
I mean...
You work...
Aim high, Jason, aim high.
Yeah. You work your way around the board and you need to like, oh, I've got my own pilot, I've got my own stylist and a publicist. And if you've got the right people, you can go into like VIP areas on the board. It's like, you can only go through here if you have like, I don't know, an agent, and the agent will get you through to the secret like part of the board game.
Wow.
And you drive.
So Jason, my last question for you. Oh,
sorry,
go ahead.
I was gonna say you drive around in a limousine, and every time you get an entourage, you get another person that sits in the limousine with you as well.
Oh, you're so fancy. So Jason, I'd like to ask you now, if you were to be transported into a game Jumanji style, which game would it be?
Other than Jumanji?
Other than Jumanji.
Oh.
Because it's not a real game.
If I was to be transported into a board game.
Or if the game were to come into our world. Either way.
Ooh. That's a really difficult one. Well, I've just told you for my love of Game of Life.
I'm asking all the hard-hitting questions here, Jason.
Yeah, I know. Like, what has love got to do with it? And, like, what if God was one of us? So, I don't know, because the thing is, it's like no board game ends up coming up roses, really, does it? Let's face it. So if I was to say that I want to go into I don't know, Mousetrap, like you end up getting caught by the mouse, no, by the cat, and then if you go into like Snakes and Ladders, you're either going to get eaten or you're going to like climb your way to the top. Board game.
Okay, I'll give you a choice of 3: Connect 4, Twister, or Mousetrap. And you can imagine them to be however they are within their game world, however you want them to be.
So it's Connect 4, Mousetrap, or Twister. I would probably say Twister. However, I would have the same powers as Mr. Fantastic, because then I could literally be a contortionist and always win.
I mean, not quite how my game played there, but fine. I summon you to the depths of Twister World, where you are trapped within a whirlwind twister, having to jump from colourful spot to colourful spot.
Oh, that could be fun, like Mario.
Sure. Jason, it's been lovely having you on the podcast. Thank you for trying this out with me. God knows what will happen with it. I realise I don't have a name for this podcast, so if you have any suggestions as to what I could possibly call it, the aim of this podcast is literally to talk to my friends about what makes them happy, what makes them smile. And I've literally been thinking of every cliche possible. So if you've got any quick suggestions off the top of your head,
do you watch Will and Grace?
I have in the past.
How about just James?
I mean,
what about? No,
it's not just me; it's me and my friends.
J-Talk.
James and friends. Sounds a bit lame.
J-Talk.
J what?
J-Talk.
J-Talks. Sounds a bit. Hey, welcome to J-Talk. On the podcast today, we're going to talk about.
Oh yeah, no, that sounds creepy and weird. Okay, fine. I'll send it in the DMs. It's fine.
Okay, leave it. I'll leave it with you. Let me know. And thank you, to listener who I don't know if you're even listening right now. I hope this has been entertaining. I hope you've had a good time. I hope you learned a bit about board games. And I hope you've had a good time with Jason and myself, James. In the future, I'm sure if this takes off, there will be social media to plug. But in the meantime, there's not. There's just me talking into a mic with my friend over Zoom. Stay happy, stay positive, stay sane. And hopefully this will all be over soon and we can all hang out together soon. Thank you so much and goodbye. Goodbye, Jason.
Bye. Thanks for having me. Bye.